talking about the Steelers going to the Super Bowl. The stat that you need to see. Making stats cool again.
You can't steal that from Danny. You made fun of him for it.
You killed him.
He made stats cool, and now people are copying. Meanwhile, 2 guests on the show today. NFL legend Larry Fitzgerald talks all things NFL and wide receivers, and the Pass Squatch is back with us, who perfectly predicted last night's game.
And won me some money.
Did he really? Did you make that bet?
Yeah, I saw the roof was open. I bet the Blue Jays.
That's a good
That roof, there was magic in that roof.
Yeah.
And finally, it's the most motivational segment in all of sports. It's the Bud List. Is your guy, and my guy, Ohtani, Jalen Hurts, what a Bud List we have.
Well, it was 3-0 last week as far as motivation. All 3 played excellent games.
That's true.
Gino wasn't excellent, but he was better.
But won and was better. Yeah.
Right.
So,
That's right. Nick Wright, Kevin Wildes,
Big
Chris
week.
Broussard, a.k.a. Chris and Company. We're starting with Aaron Rodgers. Got his team to 4 wins up against the Bengals defense tonight that is giving up 30 points a game. Pittsburgh favored by almost 6. Here's Aaron. Take a listen.
I'm kind of going like this body-wise. I'm just getting healthier. I had a great break on the bye week. Spent time with my body work guru guy out west, and felt good coming back. I'm gonna have to get with him a few more times this season, but I'm feeling like first couple weeks I was a little tighter. I felt like, and I'm starting to loosen up and feel a little bit more like myself.
Okay, so get this. If they win tonight, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers will be 5-1. Under Tomlin, starting 5-1 or better. 2008, they were 12-4, won the Super Bowl. 2010, 12-4, lost the Super Bowl. 2020, 12-4, lost the wild card round. I thought this was very instructive. Basically, tonight, if they win, they've got a 66% chance of going to the Super Bowl. There's no other way to read it. There's no other way to read it. They're going to the Super Bowl. Tonight's like the AFC Championship game.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, do you think they're going to the Super Bowl?
No, I don't. And even with a win, I won't look at them as legit contenders. And the more I dug into the Steelers for this topic, and I hate this, the better I felt about Bruce Ravens still being alive. I'm just telling you the truth. Bro, why are you so see this is why
they are very much alive because I felt I always felt they were alive, but you're right.
But
when you look deep, they are
because
very
here's
much
the
alive.
thing. It's multifaceted. First of all, I do not care about that graphic at all. I apologize.
Okay,
Here's
we're in the Super Bowl.
So because what that shows me is, when they had prime Big Ben and they started out well, they were awesome. And then in 2020, when they started out, I think 10-0, maybe 11-0 with washed
we
Big
all
Ben.
knew they were still not that great.
We didn't believe in them for sure. They end up getting annihilated. That was the year. That was Baker's playoff win, if I remember correctly. That was the year the Browns went to Pittsburgh and won the game.
Stefanski too?
It had to be because COVID, because that was COVID year. But the Steelers, it's a couple reasons. First one is this. If we put up the Steelers ranks, they're making their money on defense purely with the splash plays. And I don't think that is super sustainable. I think that TJ Watt's going to get sacks and they're going to force some turnovers. But being that bad in yards and being that average in points per game, despite being where they are in takeaway and sacks, is concerning to me. On offense, it's the opposite. Now, that should be a little more sustainable because preventing what they're doing is taking care of the football. And after Rodgers got sacked a bunch the first 2 weeks, stopped getting sacked. So that might be slightly more sustainable. But the way Rodgers is making his money up to this point this year, Brew, is getting the ball out immediately. And I just think that's disruptible by good defenses. I think that if you are willing to risk getting beat over the top if he has time to hold on to the ball, you can disrupt the timing on this like we saw essentially different players, different versions. Teams do to Miami.
Yes.
You know, which is we're just not going to let that instantaneous passing game beat us. And the Steelers don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't have Jalen Waddle. DK Metcalf's a really good player. And I think that this can be exploited. And so I just don't think they are as good as their record says they are. And I don't think it will be sustained over the course of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm sure you may have looked at this. Their schedule. Now, if they're 10-1 going through their schedule, then you'll start to believe. But look, after this one, and yesterday I said, this is like they need to win this game because it's getting rough after this. You've got Green Bay, Indianapolis, and the Chargers. But then look at the last column. Buffalo, you still got Baltimore twice. Buffalo, Detroit, like they could end up losing a lot of games if they're really not that good. So they do need to stack these wins. But I think they're going to lose a lot of these games, and then we won't be thinking of them as a contender at all. The other thing, Nick, and this is a credit to Rodgers so far, they don't have a run game. They're averaging like 3 yards a carry, one of the worst run games. Even I like Jaylen Warren, but they haven't been able to get their run game going. And you guys know how I feel about Rodgers in the postseason. Like, he is a legitimately all-time great quarterback, and I'm actually glad he's getting off to this start where he's playing well and they're winning games. But I've already said, since they won that Super Bowl, 14 years ago, this is how he's played in the conference championship games. 9 TDs, 8 interceptions. That's telling because his claim to fame is he doesn't throw picks. But why in these huge games does he throw a lot of interceptions?
But if they get to that spot, Brew, they'll be through.
Huge, man.
If they get to the conference championship game, it's an amazing accomplishment.
If they absolutely. I think if they make the playoffs and maybe win a game, then Rodgers will be able to go out in a blaze of glory if he chooses to retire. But I just think that's the cap on that for them. But look, Kansas City's better. Buffalo's better. I think Baltimore's better. And they'll have their chance to prove it, obviously. But I don't think they're a legit contender in AFC.
Classic 2 by me, I would say.
What was that?
That the Achilles is a 2-year injury. Now, did I believe in the Steelers? Not necessarily. Did I believe in Aaron Rodgers? No, but I had a small carve-out where I can lay claim to a classic 2, where, like, maybe Aaron Rodgers is actually back. He hasn't looked washed. I think washed was on the board.
That's fair.
This guy doesn't look like he belongs on an NFL field.
No.
Physically or mentally, he's just kind of out of it. We thought there was going to be real tumult with the offense, that if it goes one way and Rodgers wants it this way, they want it that way. After he got sacked, let's just get rid of the ball. Unfortunately, or fortunately, he's got the lowest average intended air yard. So it's all just small.
It's just quick, immediate.
Yeah.
And
DK has been great after the catch.
But this is what it was from last year with the Jets to this year with the Steelers. Like, I got to give him credit. Completion percentage is up. The yards are down, but the wins are up, so that's good. 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and the passer rating is up. So, look, if he wins tonight, he'll equal last year's total.
What is interesting to me about that is the touchdown interception ratio is not that different. You know, because you multiply it by 3, it'd be 30 to 9, and it was 28 to 11. It's a little bit better, and the yards per game are down. So I'm not certain that I agree with you wholeheartedly that he is playing much better than last year. I do think this is another year where his numbers are maybe a little better than his play actually has been. But I think to go circle back something, what you were saying, Brew, what is now true, I feel, now missing the playoffs would be a disaster. Going into the year, they were like 50-50. But now, because of what's happened with Baltimore, because Joe Burrow is out for the season, and because they're off to this huge start, if they were to finish 9-8 and miss the playoffs, that is a disaster in a way it would not have been at the beginning of the year if you knew that was coming. And maybe this is my own, I have to just be honest with the audience, maybe I'm trying to hold on to my priors about this team going into the year, but I just feel like you can, if you want to, it's pretty easy to poke holes at their victories.
Yes.
And beating the Jets 34-32 is really bad as far as allowing the Jets to score 32. The Patriot game, you talked about it.
They could have won that game.
The Patriots turned the ball over five times. Some of those forced by Pittsburgh, and some the Patriots
But we could have won the game in the final drive.
Correct.
With a 5 turnover differential.
Right.
And then their other 2 wins, one's in Ireland against a backup quarterback, and the other's against the Browns, and who right now is currently the worst starting quarterback in the league, Dylan Gabriel. I don't know that he will be, but the rookie, 3rd-round pick, really out of his depth.
If they win tonight, it's like, Flacco?
No, but
it absolutely is that. And then we'll find out what they really are. Because Green Bay, Indy, the Chargers, and then they still got some Buffalo, Detroit. Like, they got some tough games.
And I'm not sure they're winning tonight. The Bengals have been awful since Burrow got hurt. I understand that. But it was something to me that Tomlin was annoyed that they were going to have to go against Flacco. That, to me, was a rare, honest press conference moment where it actually taught us something. And I do think that Flacco gives them the veritable live arm that with those weapons could cause problems.
Interesting.
And so I'm not certain Pittsburgh is winning tonight. Can't make it a part of next
Flacco may have a run in him. 4 or 5 games. That's what he did with Cleveland.
Yep.
Nice little run, and so he might have that left. With
Combined
those
experience tonight, 39 seasons, 774 touchdowns.
That's pretty
and
good.
2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
That's the weird part.
Yeah.
It's like one legend and Joe Flacco. Actually, Joe. Check in on the champs. Eagles favored in Minnesota. They try to stop the bleeding after 2 losses. Now, there's been some talk about the return of the funk, of course, Brew. But here's A.J. Brown on the vibes in Philadelphia. Take a listen.
You tell me. You listen. What you think? Sound normal, huh?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's normal, exactly. So, we're not letting a loss just humble us, and you can't let it humble. You got to keep going. And continue to find ways. This team is fine. This team is motivated and trying to get on the same page.
There you go, Brew. You heard that. It was just normal chatter in the background, and that means the Eagles are back on track. Do you expect the Eagles to show this against the Vikings?
Look, I'm not a body language expert, but I like his body language there. I like his demeanor. It didn't seem – we've seen him before where it's tense. He's being critical of the offense, quarterback, whatever it is. So that was good. And if that's the case, then great. I mean, we are reacting to this report from Jeremy Fowler that they feel like they're on the verge of going into the supernatural funk again. So if they're not, then fine. My thing with them is just, and he said later, I watched the whole interview. He said later that we're not going to let this get us down. We're going to so as long as they stay in a good place mentally, which has been a challenge for them. But if they do, their talent and ability will have them in the playoffs, should win the division. They'll be there in the end with a shot to do something in the NFC. That's my biggest concern with them. So I do think they will bounce back against Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Minnesota, look, they're not as good as, Flores has some quarterbacks have had their way with him a little bit with that
I don't think the
defense.
Minnesota D-line's playing as well as they thought it would. As well as we saw early in the year.
Right. And obviously you've got it's going to be Carson Wentz again.
Yep.
Philadelphia cannot get Sirianni, never coached him, but he was there the year